Good evening, baseball fans. It is Wednesday, April 3rd. It is no longer April Fool's Day, although I thought it was after the no-hitter and then losing and then tonight. Can we just win a normal game? We can't just win a normal game now because that's what it's been this entire I say this entire time as if we've played in like a whole 162. Hi, yi, yi. Guys, I'm Susie. That is Tom. This is Bourbon and Baseball, Astros edition, if you haven't already figured that out by now. I'm going to give you the rated R warning off the top. It is a rated R show for all of the inappropriate adult humor and adult language, none of the nudity, because that's not what we do here. That's on the paid side. No, I'm just kidding. There is no paid side. But just all of the cussing and all of the inappropriate adult humor. So if that's not your deal, that's okay. Just head on out. I'm sure there's lots of other Astros baseball podcasts that don't use that language that is not as super awesome as we are that you can listen to. Stick around. We're a good time. But with that said, I was not having a good time last night. I was having a great time the night before. And then tonight I was a little on edge until all of the home runs started. But let's go back to the no-hitter. Let's go all the way back. We're not going to talk about the Yankees and the sweep. That's not what we're going to do here. We are going to talk about the Ronel Blanco no-hitter, though, because that was fucking fantastic. Just absolute nails for Ronel. And the fact that he did it in 105 pitches, way to go, Ronel. Hooray for you, sir. Hooray for you. I was so thrilled. I didn't know how to express all of the joy. I didn't even know. And I wasn't prepared to figure out his pitch mix. And then watching it, I'm all, oh, this is amazing. This is so much. It's so cool. What were your feelings on that?
Cinderella story, this young old Cinderella. This was only his eighth start.
Yeah.
So definitely not what you expected. We've seen Ronel Blanco in the past, both out of the pen and as a spot starter, and you were just happy with whatever you got. But his spring training was so well done this year that I believe Susie felt the same way, that he could come in and be a legit fifth starter. I don't think anybody saw anything like this coming. And he kept hitters off balance. He mixed up his pitch is really good. His changeup is a thing of beauty. The late life it has, late break it has, hitters just don't know what to do with it. And he was able to throw it in the zone, out of the zone, and it just had everybody confused. And watching the game, it took me a few innings to grasp the situation. I think it was like the fourth inning when I figured out, it's like, oh, okay. And then as you do, typical, not superstitious, but stitious
Right.
baseball fan, you're just like, all right, we're just going to put that in our back pocket and not talk about it. Did not take the national media and the local media very much more than those four innings to get going, because tags and MLB and DraftKings and anybody with a pulse was like, Ronel Blanco has no hit the Toronto Blue Jays through 5 innings. Ronel Blanco has no hit. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Let him do it. I'm like, let that man alone. And I get it for the guys that, hey, this is not, we don't control him. If it's going to happen, it's
Right.
going to happen. True. But you know what? Then whatever superstition you have about whatever, then don't do it. Don't do it. But I don't know anybody that doesn't have some weird something that they do, whether it be what
Right.
light you turn on, the way you tie your shoe, whatever. Can't explain it. It's just the way you do it.
The way you tie see, I don't tie my shoes, so I'm a slip-on shoe girly all the way because who's got time to fucking tie shoes? Not me. Fun fact, we were on the PSF app calling, quote, unquote, "the game," as one does on the PSF app. If you guys haven't joined, head on over, download the PSF app. When Tom and I are on the call, hilarity will ensue, and maybe no-hitters, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that we're the reason why the no-hitter happened, not saying it. Also, fun fact, that was the first game that I decided that I was going to try and learn how to score. I, being the ever so smart person that I am, did not score properly. It was like, I don't understand. Wait, how are they still in the third inning? Because I didn't do it the right way. If you're on audio only, go to the YouTube. It wasn't right. But then I figured it out. In about the seventh inning, I figured it out. And we wrote it down here. No hitter. No hitter. And then I was going to try and figure out how to do it correctly and like, redo it. And I'm like, you know what? No, it's authentic this way, and I will forever remember. No, I won't. That the memory will already that have already left my head. I scored this no hitter the first time, but I did write down some notes that this is the Astros 17th no hitter. And what was that stat? Now I have to go look it up. Yeah.
First, keeping a scorebook, if you've never done it, is incredibly difficult. It is a lot more paying attention to just the scores and less the game. So, in Susie's defense, she was trying to enjoy the game and score the game. It's really hard to do because you want to take the time to enjoy every at bat, every pitch, and you should be scoring at that time. But what an amazing game for the fact that the offense came alive. It was really one of those games where you didn't know what you were going to get from the offense because the series before that, they had scored runs, but it wasn't like convincingly. They didn't have big outbursts. This was just a home run barrage from the word go. So Tucker had two, Yainer had two, Tuve had one. So it was just, I think it was 7 home runs total and 10 runs. So it was just a good night at the plate for the team that really needed a good night at the plate. And then that allowed Ronel to just sit back, relax, trust his stuff, and be really economical with his pitch count.
It was no hitters thrown since June 25th of 2022. I don't know why that date. That's just a random ass fucking date, but no hitters thrown since June 25th of 2022. Astros 4, rest of MLB 3. The Astros have the best ratio of no hitters thrown, 17, versus times being no hit, 5, of any MLB team. The Blue Jays have the second worst ratio of no hitters thrown, 1, to times being no hit, 8. Only the Padres, 1 and 10, are worse. Those nuggets come from friend of the show, Jay Hay, one of the co-hosts on Baseball is Dead podcast. And when I read that, I'm all, tell me how our farm system sucks again. Keep telling me about how lowly and how poor our farm system is ranked, and yet we keep churning out these players that keep doing these beautiful things. And then it was brought out that Altuve, Fromber, CJ, Ronel, all older, all signed from Latin countries that everybody else had overlooked. And apparently, we have to thank Julio Rodriguez for Ronel Blanco because the scouts were down there looking at Julio Rodriguez. And that's when Ronel Blanco was noticed.
I think when this Astros run is over, I think they will do a documentary on their farm system, study them in a lab, whatever you have to do, because I don't think at any other time has there been a franchise, a sporting franchise that has done more with less. Ronel Blanco was signed for $5,000. Jose
Mhm.
Altuve was signed for, I think it was like $10,000 or $15,000. Like prospects make millions and don't become half of what these guys are.
Yep.
And the Astros do it over and don't. The list is long, and it'd be different if it was just 1 or 2 guys, but no. Every time they talk about are like Jordan and Yainer, they weren't drafted, but they were the same thing. Guys that were not highly touted, that nobody wanted, that they scouted up and was like, no, we need those guys in our system. And I think Jordan was a little different. I think the Dodgers actually did scout him and thought he was going to be good. They just gave up on him. But
But wasn't the story on Jordan though? Didn't they think that it was another? They thought Jordan Alvarez was another guy that ended with the last name Alvarez. Like they thought he was the other Alvarez, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. Like you can give him that guy."
when the Astros called
Uh
for
huh.
him to trade Josh Fields, they called and they thought they were talking about a highly touted prospect named Alvarez. And they're like, no, we're not giving you that guy. They're like, no, 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 we want Jordan. Oh, yeah, you can have him. And that's the story. That they legit thought that there was another Alvarez that they wanted. And they're like, oh, no, you can't have him. And they had to correct him.
Okay. Okay.
Credit to everybody in that front office and everybody in the minor league levels because they take a lot of every year for the last 5 or 6 years, the Astros have been ranked at the bottom of
Yep.
MLB's scouting department or their rankings. And every year they draft at the end of the first round or they lose first round draft picks and they go scour the international waters. And they get all these Latin players that nobody wants. And
Yep.
they all look pretty good right now.
Look what we can do. So I was listening to a couple of podcasts that didn't give Ronel Blanco's no hitter like the proper respect that it deserved, and they were saying, "Oh, it's a no hitter. Ooh,
Like
whoop de
everybody does
doo."
that.
Like
Yeah.
everyone does it, right? And they're like, "Well, it's not a perfect game." George Springer literally led off with a walk and ended with a walk. Not ended, but George Springer was it. That was the only thing. And really, had it not been for like one of those walks, he would have gotten a Maddox, which was a no-hitter under 100 pitches, right? Make sure that I have my terminology correct here.
Because Maddox was
I
definitely before Susie.
Yes, for sure. I This was all, and it's, again, not against the A's. It's not against, like, it's the Blue Jays. They got Vladdy, they got Boba wasn't playing in that game, but they had George Springer was in there. It's
Varsho.
Varsho, Alejandro Kirk. It's a lineup of major league players, some very good players. So the fact that some people they were throwing shade at Ronel Blanco, but they were not giving it the respect that it really truly deserved. And a lot of the big podcasts were like, "What the fuck is Ronel Blanco? And what? How are the Astros? How do the Astros keep doing this?" I'm like, exactly. Put some fucking respect on the name, people. And also the fact that, shout out to our starting pitching, which we thought was partially going to be the thorn in our side. No, not our starting pitching, guys. Not our starting pitching. It's the bullpen.
One thing I want to point out for anybody that would want to belittle what Ronel Blanco was able to do, the game before, the Blue Jays played the Rays. They beat them 9-2. So it wasn't like they haven't hit anybody, hadn't beat anybody. They had home runs from Justin Turner, Schneider. They had doubles from Turner. They had RBIs from Kirk, Biggio, Schneider. They ran up the score. So to say, oh, they weren't any good. Tampa's pretty good.
Yep. And that's you bring up David Schneider. That second game, David Schneider hurt us dearly. But when you throw a slider and it doesn't slide,
It's a cement
and it's
mixer.
if y'all don't remember, David Schneider, when he came up last season, he mashed left-handed pitching. He grinded literally in the minor league system for like 6 years, came up, and they nicknamed him the Babe because this motherfucker mashed so hard. And no one knew who he was. And I think maybe some people forgot because he's not in the lineup every day. But when you come in and you hit a 2-run bomb to go ahead off of one of the highest paid closers, you're going to get a little bit of shine. Blue Jay fans know. Blue Jays fans know. That's okay, though. That's okay. Get it out of the way early. Just get it out of the way early, right? But legitimately, if we could not leave 43 people on base every game, that would be delightful. That would be so good.
That was only in the
Our
last
favorite
3
pastime.
innings. They left 43 people on base the last 3 innings.
Yeah. Yeah. They left, let's see, how many, I can tell you how many people they left on base. Not in last night's game. I can tell you how many they left on base in this game. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I stopped counting after the 7th inning. But they left 10 on base in tonight's game. The first inning and the third inning, the bases were loaded, people. The bases were loaded. And it's our favorite thing. It's our favorite thing to do. We just love it. We love it so much. So if we could just, I don't know, not do that would be great. That would be so good for my blood pressure and my overall mental health. Okay. But then they said, Susie, calm the fuck down.
We got you.
And then we scored with like runners in scoring position. We scored and it just, my blood pressure lowered. My attitude was better. Why my mental health is tied to a sports team that I have no bearing on their performance.
She's like, my hair was good. My skin was glowing. My whole livelihood was better.
The birds were singing. No, I'm just kidding. But it is. It is. And I never understood why or how people did this with sports before I became this person. I don't understand why you're getting so mad. You literally have no bearing on this game whatsoever. Why are you getting so mad? Now I hate it here. It's dumb. It's very dumb. But
it's fun.
Sometimes. But then sometimes it's not fun. And then you just sit and you stew all fucking day in this mess of why can we not do it? It's literally all or nothing. It is literally all or nothing. 10 runs, double-digit curse. We said double-digit curse.
I got to tell y'all, me and Susie will chat back and forth about the game, during the game, whatever. And every time she rages out, I just think of that meme where the guy's like got the noose around his neck and he's smiling. He's like, first time? Because I mean, this is as a lifelong Astros fan, you're going to have those roller coasters. You're just going to ride them. And when you haven't been on all of them, it's frustrating. It's so frustrating because you know how good your team is and they should never be this bad. And guys that do good things should do good things. And when they don't, you're just like, why?
Listen, I am 41 years old. I am too fucking old to go on roller coasters, okay?
Not either.
Like,
Absolutely not.
no, thank you. The older I get, the more cranky I get, and the worse it is for my mental health. That's all I'm saying. It, when the Astros, when this ends, and then I have to just be mired in this, I will take solace in knowing that the two other teams that I like at some point will be good, and I can just be like, oh, but I won't be this invested in them. I'll just be happy when they win. I won't be mired in this. Oh my God, why won't they bring up Heston Kjerstad? Do you see what Kobe Mayo is doing? Why won't they bring up Jackson Hall? I won't be doing that. And it's so funny now seeing on Twitter the Orioles fans and the Mets fans and the Yankee fans. It's not just Astros Twitter, guys. It's not just Astros fans, all right? There are unhinged people in all of the fan bases.
They have
And
Yainer Maldi problems just like we did last year.
the fact that Ramon Urias is in a lineup for the Orioles, they are calling for Brandon Hyde's head, people, okay? The fact that they hate that Tony Kemp is on that lineup. They hate that Cedric Mullins is apparently over the hill. There are Orioles fans just so upset right now. And I get it. I get it. I understand. But it's like Maldi Yainer versus like 7 guys over there that could legitimately come up and do things. But whatever. Anyways, do you know, Tom, who leads the AL in hits?
In hit, is it Yainer Diaz?
It is Yainer motherfucking Diaz.
Is this the part where I thank Dusty? Ooh, if y'all are audio only, you're missing the reaction of the century right now. She's about to go in.
I have been beating this motherfucking drum since last season, since the beginning of last season. I wanted Dusty. I wanted to tip my cap, have him ride off into the sunset with the glow of a World Series win in his back pocket, and just enjoy that. Just go enjoy that in your vineyard, drink your wine, enjoy your grandkids, do all of those things. And at the end of last season, when I was beating that drum, hell, fucking April, May of last season, when I was like, can we play Yainer? Can we do anything with Yainer? No. How I don't understand how he's supposed to learn anything if Maldi's here to teach. I don't understand how he's teaching if he's in there and he's not. That's not teaching. That's just doing. That's okay, cool. And I got so much shit. And then at the end of the season, when I said, you know what, I'm gonna say it. And we're doing this. We're doing this. If Dusty Baker was not our manager, we could have gone to another World Series. We could have been. I'm not saying that we definitely would have won another World Series, people, because it's baseball. And we're currently at 2-5. I get it. But all I'm saying is that we had the talent last season to be able to go to another World Series. And we didn't because Yainer Diaz sat on the motherfucking bench.
It was more than that. I don't think Yainer alone would have got a World Series or won a World Series. There were some decisions that could have been made that maybe Yainer doesn't win it. However, me and Susie were on lockstep, banging the same drum. That had Yainer had the time during the season when the postseason came around, you wouldn't have had the argument, I can't play him. You would have been able to say, I've been grooming him all season to be able to be ready for this spot because he was the better hitter, he was the better runner, he was the better defender, he was just the better player. Now, between the years, Maldi's probably got him because he's got 20 years of experience or however long he's been playing the game. I don't even know. But as far as talent, raw talent, Yainer's the superior player. And now that Dusty has decided to return to the vineyard and drink the wine and sit back and watch the grandkids run around, Joe Espada's going, hey, appreciate you, bro. I'm going to take this stud you didn't want to play. And look what he's going to do. He is going to lead the league in hits the first week of the season, batting .480 with an 1,100 OPS.
Thanks, Dusty. Love that. It's just smoke coming out of my ears, people. Do you know how much shit I get when I tell people that Dusty cost us another trip to the World Series? And they're like, man, that is a Hall of Fame That is a Hall of Fame manager that you are slandering. Okay, cool. How many World Series did he take a team to and win? That's all I asked a question. Just how many World Series? How many World Series did he go to and lose? That's all. There's answers there. Okay. Again, he came in at a time, and I understand why he came in. I understand why he was brought in. But there is such a thing as overstaying a welcome, and okay, we can't rewrite history, guys, but I'm gonna beat a dead horse because it's my show, and I can do whatever the fuck I want on my own show. Anyhow,
Oh, and he couldn't hit lefties. Guess who hits lefties? Batting
going
500 against lefties. Sorry.
going back to Ronel Blanco and the changeup that he apparently introduced now. Last season, he was throwing it, I wanna say 4% of the time, 5% of the time, and they are saying that this season, "Oh, he's introduced this changeup, and it's it's gotten better," and I read a stat by, I think it's Midzy on Twitter, Ben,
Mhm.
I think his real name is Ben, that said something about how he looked at the movement of his changeup and stuff like that, and literally nothing has changed. Speed, I was about to say velocity, which is the same thing as speed. That's love that for me. Movement, and like all of it is the same. The only thing that is different is pitch sequence on them all. As in who's deciding when to throw what pitches. That's what we're So you're telling me the entire time the reason he didn't throw that was because somebody wasn't calling that pitch? That's why?
But hey, he does all the homework and he does all the research and makes sure that he's so good at making sure that he's got all the video watched and determines what the hitter can't do. Do you know that in this last series, the starters for the Houston Astros had 21 and 2/3 scoreless innings? Do you know who has the number one ERA among starters in MLB, the entire Major League Baseball? That would be the Houston Astros.
Absolutely, baby. You know who has the second? The
No.
second lowest?
Is it the D-backs?
No.
Who is it?
The Boston Red Sox.
Which that's weird.
Isn't that weird? And I think the third is the Kansas City Royals.
I believe that. I believe that
That
100%.
one I believe, but I'm like, Boston Red Sox, what? But yeah.
But a lot of that, I had the conspiracy theory all last season that Maldi was trying so hard to get guys to pitch against hitters' strengths rather than pitching to the pitcher's strength. And now you're starting to see that, hey, we're keeping it simple, stupid, for the young catcher. Hey, just throw your good stuff and trust that. And lo and behold, Framber looks like Framber, and CJ looks like CJ, and Hunter looks good, and JP looks good. And this dude that nobody knew his name, Ronel Blanco, there was a no.
So we have the no-hitter on Monday, where we scored 10 runs. Victor Caratini caught Fromber yesterday. Yainer Diaz was behind the dish today. They got one hit. So we have a no-hitter and a one-hitter when Yainer is behind the dish. We're not talking about the Yankee series, okay? That's not what we're talking about here.
We threw that one out.
Um,
We chalked that up to spring training.
we're talking about this series. But really and truly, though, Yainer Diaz should just catch all of the times for all of the game. I know he can't. I know people. He can't actually do that. But what is that stat when he catches versus DHing? Because it was stupid last year, the 200-point difference, but it's got to be probably even more stupid this year. I'm going to figure that out, people.
And if you
Next podcast, we'll figure that out for you.
and if you do want to talk about the Yankee series, the starters were all decent in the Yankee series as well. Every one of those was chalked up to bullpen issues. So in that
Yeah.
aspect, I would argue that he still did a good job with the starters.
Yeah, it's just that the bullpen came in and shat itself.
Didn't CJ go 6 shetty against the Yankees?
Yes.
So I
Yes, he
mean,
did.
so
Sure
I
did.
all this noise that Yainer couldn't catch a major league ball club rotation because he hadn't done it sure does not look that way. This is just a really huge Yainer appreciation segment.
The My entire life is a huge Yainer Diaz appreciation
It's my next Stros
segment.
jersey.
I want people to know that I'm not gonna gatekeep Yainer Diaz. If you wanna jump on the bandwagon now, feel free. That is okay. But if you were banging that Maldi drum last season and now you're gonna hop on the Yainer Diaz train, I'm gonna throw a little bit of salt and shade
Shade.
your way, okay? That's all I'm saying. You can get on now, that's fine. But if you are one of these ones out here, Maldi does all this, I'm gonna give you some side eye, okay? I'm gonna give you some side eye, and that's what's gonna happen. So, looking ahead, so we have a day off tomorrow, and then we go to Mimic
Our
Maid Park, and do we play 3? I think we play 3, right?
mhm.
Those pitching matchups are gonna be dumb, people.
I only know
They're gonna be
Fridays.
they're gonna be real dumb. Friday will be Hunter Brown versus Cody Bradford. Saturday will it says TBD, it should be JP France though. Side note, congrats JP France and Jess for having a beautiful baby girl. Remy, I believe, is
Mhm.
the name. So cute. Cheeks, I just want to eat all of the chubby cheeks. So cute. So, mom and baby are doing great. And so I think it is going to be JP France on Saturday versus John Gray, who apparently has a 9.82 ERA.
Love that for us.
Yeah, yeah. And then Sunday will be Ronel Blanco versus Dane Dunning. Oh, it is a 4-game series. And then Monday will be Fromber versus Andrew Heaney. 4-game set against the Rangers in Mimic Maid Park. And we all know that we hit delightfully well when we are not at home. So hopefully they keep it rolling. And again, I want to thank who's ever Mexican grandma that came and did the things and put the Vicks where they needed to. And I don't know whatever other. Isn't there something with like an egg? I feel like
Mhm.
there's something with an egg. What's the thing with the egg?
Sana sana colita de rana.
Okay, what is that? I'm
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
even gonna
yeah, yeah.
attempt to say that. No.
It's one of those things you say, the egg, ward off evil spirit, that kind of deal.
Okay, but do you put the egg somewhere? Do you leave the egg?
No, I don't know. I
The
don't know what you
egg.
do with the egg. That's beyond me. I just know the saying, and I know they do
Okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna. I'm like, so the egg like goes with. Okay, anyways. So if any of you guys know what to do with the egg, just drop it in the comments. Let me know.
You eat the egg, stupid. Nah, I'm just kidding.
I don't think you do. I don't think
I
you do.
know.
I
I'm
think
playing.
I
I'm
think they
playing.
got to do something with the egg. They got to
Truth be
dispose of the evil spirit.
truth be told, though, Minute Maid has not been the problem for the offense this season. They've scored tons of runs. They've had 2 games where they didn't score a ton of runs, and they should. If the pitching was as good as it should have been out of the bullpen, we
I
could
was
be talking
bullpen.
about 5-2 instead of 2-5.
Yeah. Listen, people. I know the sky is not falling. I know all the cliches. Okay, I do. Long season. Water will find its level. Insert other baseball cliche here. It's only April. Whatever. Get it. But sometimes we like to be Delulu. And sometimes irrational Susie takes over and laughs maniacally while rational Susie's like, you should probably not type that out. But irrational Susie says, fuck you, we're typing that shit out. I'm not calling for Joe Spot his head. All right. There's a line that I will not cross. All I'm saying is that maybe we don't run into outs. That's all I'm saying. And maybe we just get so frustrated with our tiny short king that we just love oh so much that we can't get mad at. That I want to shake him because he's my size. He's not my size. He is actually taller than I am. However,
All that being said, for me, the guy that if you want to put a bullseye on, it needs to be Alejandro Bregman or whatever that dude in the HEB commercial is, because he's not the Breggy bomb guy. I need
okay,
Breggy. Maybe Wild Soul needs to go, and we need Breggy bomb salsa back because before tonight, Alex
the
Bregman was batting 120 something.
the seal has been broken for Breggy. Okay, the seal has been broken for Breggy. Look, he got a single. He got a single tonight.
2 walks.
Did he get a
He was
single?
on base. Yes, he got a single and 2
Oh no,
walks.
I'm looking at. Sorry, I'm looking at last night's game. Here's tonight's game. 2 walks and a double. There we go.
Okay, it was a double. I'm sorry.
2
Down the
walks and a
line.
double.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
But he had been
Uh,
leaving runners on base all season.
yeah, and I'm wondering if maybe the added stress or added responsibility of runners in scoring position isn't fucking with his mind, just a little bit. I'm thinking now though, seal has been broken. He's in the groove. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll see. We'll see. My question: why was Singleton batting in front of Chaz? Is it breaking up the left-handed?
That
Is
that
it putting
seems
a
like
left-hander in between?
that seems like why. I don't agree with it. I don't subscribe to it because of what we do with Tuck and Jordan. I think they've proven that it shouldn't matter. But some managers are apprehensive about not super uber talented hitters wanting to have that. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen Chaz hit in front of him. I feel like it's always seems like it's slander for me for Chaz when they push him down to push guys up. You know, even a Breggy right now shouldn't be batting above Chaz. Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if it works for them, it works for them.
He got a knock. He got a knock when the bases were loaded in the first inning. He lined out. After, granted, he did work a decent at bat. I would feel obviously a little bit more comfortable with Chaz up there with bases loaded as opposed to John Singleton. And I think the majority of us would. Or if we're not going to do the Joey Loperfido experiment.
He had another homer today, by the way. He strikes
But
out a ton.
apparently out 3 times or something last night or 2 nights ago or something like that. But isn't that Trey Cabbage's whole problem as well? Does Joey Loperfido walk though? I don't know his walk rate.
Let's check
I
it
don't
out.
know Trey's walk rate either. But shout out to, again, Yainer for working walks. And I really honestly believe that the reason he didn't walk as much last season was because he was pressing and he's like, maybe if I hit, I'll be able to play. I honestly believe that. And I think now he's like, cool, if I can work a walk and I know that I'll still be able to play in a game.
Joey Loperfido has 1 walk on the season.
Yikes.
He is 5 for 21 with 4 homers and 10 Ks.
Do you know who does
9
he still
RBIs.
have the highest? Does he still have the highest OPS on the team?
It's 1,071.
I think when I looked, was it yesterday or the day before? When I looked pretty recently, he had the highest OPS, and then the second highest OPS, I was pretty surprised by. Is it still David Hensley
I don't know.
that has the second highest OPS?
Give me a second.
Side note, if you guys aren't aware, we are talking about the Sugarland Space Cowboys, our AAA team, just in case, I don't know, you're new or you don't follow minor league ball. Sugarland.
If you don't, you should, because a certain starting pitcher is scheduled to make a rehab start on Sunday. And if it does not rain, I will be there.
Very excited about that. I want to go see it.
Come on down.
Is it a day game or is it a night game?
Day game. I think it's 2:00.
Oh, that may be doable.
How do I get team stats and then just the team?
Go to Baseball Reference, bro.
I know.
Why you gotta make it harder for you? That's what she said. Let me just look up Joey Loperfido then.
I found it. I couldn't look up
Sounds like JK.
I couldn't look up like his stats versus Hensley's stats versus everyone else's stats. So what are we talking? Okay, OPS, right? David Hensley now leads the team. 11 OPS.
That's so dumb.
Why is it dumb? 2 years ago, he was the heir apparent. He was going to be the guy.
Wait, you said? Oh, okay. Wait, 1143. Okay, so now, all right, Joey Loperfido is not even second anymore. Joey Loperfido is now third.
Pedro Leon.
Because Pedro Leon, look at you, Pedro Leon, 1128 with a 667 slug. That's so dumb.
I agree. Good problem to have, right?
Yeah, just a glut of outfielders.
Hensley can play first base too. So if they
Hensley
didn't want to,
play first base,
they didn't want to mess with Loperfido, Hensley could be a guy that they could call up. But I don't think they're going to do that either, because John Singleton is going to do just enough to keep doing what he's doing.
Yep. And honestly, though, if John Singleton got run, if John Singleton was every day first
He'd probably
baseman,
be better.
I think he would. I think he's that guy. He needs the at bats, but I don't think he's going to get the at bats, and therein lies the problem.
Yeah. Side note: guess who has a 0 ERA and 4 1/3 with 5 Ks?
Tell me it's Spencer Arrighetti.
Spencer Arrighetti.
Nice. I wish that he performed better in spring training. I was very disappointed.
I didn't think he was bad. I don't think the
not
plan with the classic or whatever, the show me whatever.
Yeah, it was that one, right?
Yeah. He got nicked up a little bit. Still Cade. I can't remember his stats, but I didn't think it was horrible. The showcase, they called it. MILB showcase.
Ryan Gusto has a 6 whip? What? Ryan Gusto, what happened?
Struggling.
Oh my God. Ryan Gusto has a 40.5 ERA. I don't know
Mm,
what happened. He gave up 6 earned
6
runs
runs, yeah, in
and
an
walked.
inning and a third. That's how you do that.
Ryan Gusto. That's not fun. Side note, did you see how many runs the AAA team for the Orioles scored tonight?
No, but I bet you it was like 40.
The Norfolk Tides scored 26 runs on 29 hits.
The Orioles, for people that don't watch the Orioles, and I know Susie's referenced them a bunch, it's because they're that good. Like they've got stupid minor league talent. They've been bad for so long and just been stacking top draft pick after top draft pick after top draft pick. And
And
now
all
they're
their
all
draft picks have hit. That's the crazy thing. All their draft picks have hit.
and now they're all ready to come up. And there's just nowhere to put them all.
At
I
the
would love
deadline, some team is gonna get a fucking haul of Orioles prospects
I would love to trade him a starter for one of them.
who
Don't
are
come
gonna
for don't come for me, Mexicans, but if yeah, Jose Urquidy comes out and does well and everybody comes back healthy and he could be had for a third base prospect, I'd do it. Even though that's probably Will Wagner, right, going forward.
Is it though?
Baseball Reference has Will Wagner at first base, 2 games at first base.
And I know that they were trying to get Loper Fido some run at first base as well.
He's played left field and center field so far.
I don't know if he's gotten reps in a game, but I know that he's taken. Let's
Well, I
see.
believe he's gonna have to do that in order to make it to the big club and play first base.
Yeah, he's gonna have to do something, man. Good night.
Yeah, Will Wagner has 17 innings, 2 games at first base.
Interesting.
Perfect fielding percentage.
Okay.
Trey Cabbage has a game. David Hensley has a game.
So who's their everyday first baseman?
Looks like it's Will Wagner based on these numbers.
Oh, because Matijevic was their everyday first baseman last season, wasn't it?
He got released, I believe.
That makes me sad because I really like JJ.
Mhm.
I think he's playing in Mexico now.
He might be.
I think he signed on to a Mexico team. That does make me sad because he's actually a decent player. Obviously, I guess that other teams did not see that though. That also makes me very sad.
David Hensley has 3 games at third base
Is that it?
for this season. They don't have a ton of games.
Huh. Interesting.
Joey Loperfido has 3 games at center field.
You know my thoughts on that. Side note, shout out to my center fielder, Chas McCormick, for making an incredible play in left field tonight because while I do love Jordan and his fielding capabilities have gotten a lot better, I do not think that he makes the catch that Chas makes
Not at all.
in left field tonight. And really and truly, I really wouldn't want him to because
We need them
yeah.
knees to be good.
Yeah. Let's see. I was trying to find that entire time that you were talking about who was playing first base. I was trying to find who was taking reps at third for the Norfolk Tides because while I know the names of the players, I don't know their actual position. Heston Kjerstad is the one that plays first base the most for them.
Because that's Gunner
Um,
forever. He's third base?
yeah.
Gunnar
Mhm.
Henderson? Yeah.
Yes. But in the minor leagues, though, Heston Kjerstad, minor leagues. And then Kobe Mayo is third base. So,
If he's blocked, send him. If we think
but
Breggs is gone, I would want something like that.
yeah, but
And I know we're like so early, right?
third base is weird for the Orioles as well, though, because they've got like a revolving door over there too.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
anyways, this is an Astros podcast, not a Baltimore Orioles podcast.
True, but we were
Although the
trying to steal
orange
their
may
talent.
be
They have
very,
tons of
very,
talent. That
they do.
this was all to say that if we were going to trade some of the starting pitching that the Astros have at the trade deadline, because they will have probably 8 starters if everyone comes back healthy, I
Mhm.
would love to see them try to move one to Baltimore, even though there's a potential to see them again at a later date for the simple fact that their talent at the lower levels is some of the best young prospects in baseball.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. Although, do you think they would trade within the division, within the American League,
I do
or do you
not
think that we would
know.
have to go to the National League
I,
because
I think for them, if they're at a point of contention where they need a
right,
starter and
yeah.
we make one available and no one else is making anyone of that quality available, I don't think they would necessarily care.
But with that said, oh, Ranger series, Josh Young is out with a
6
fractured
weeks.
wrist. That is the Rangers' third baseman. Adolis Garcia is obviously juicing. Wyatt Linkford is tearing the absolute cover off the ball, y'all. It is absolutely fucking ridiculous. If you remember back in that 43-hour team preview that we did that I have up, by the way. You're welcome. It's just very late. I did split it up into the AL and the NL, so you'll just have to go and find where I said this. When I said that Wyatt Linkford was a better version of Evan Carter, and we all saw what Evan Carter did last season. When I said that, I wasn't fucking around with y'all. The first game, he got his first hit. The second game, he got multiple hits. He got 2 hits. Second game. Third game, he hit a triple. I don't think he's hit his first home run yet. But the fact that this guy is just absolutely tearing the cover out the ball, do not be surprised when Wyatt Langford does something huge.
I'm kicking
And
myself because I tried to get both of them in my fantasy draft and drafted Carter, hoping they'd sleep on Langford. And then somebody took Langford, and now I have Carter. And while he hasn't hit the ball yet, he scored like, what is it, like 5 or 6 runs, something like that. And I have no doubt that he will do it. Langford's just tearing the cover off the ball.
Langford is just stupid. Josh Smith, who is on part of their bench, has come up and done wonderfully for them. Jankowski in center field also doing stupid things for them. The Rangers offense will not be a cakewalk. The pitching, however, I think it's just going to depend on the day and which version of which pitcher we get that day, where we won't see Nathan Eovaldi, like I said. And again, I don't trust any of their bullpen, but their bullpen has apparently been doing it as well because they are 3-2. So hopefully we will put a hurting on them and restore order and take our rightful place in the AL because we are still, I was going to say at the bottom, but I think the Athletics took that spot, and I think we're 4th in the AL.
2 series. We're watching 2 series in.
Tom, restore order because that's exactly where everybody thought we were going to be at the beginning of this season. Also, George Kirby got the shit kicked out of him today by the Guardians.
The Guardians. It happens.
But did it have to happen to me this week?
That is called fantasy baseball karma because
because I picked up Ronel Blanco.
Exactly. And then he got a no. Yeah.
That's just mean. And the guy that I went against this week, supposed to have Spencer Strider, Adrian Hauser, Zach Wheeler, and there's a 4th that I think got rained out as well. But he was supposed to have 4 today, and only. Oh, I'm sorry, Tyler Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow is the other one.
Damn.
He had all 4 going today. So Adrian Hauser and Spencer Strider got rained out. So he only had Zach Wheeler and Tyler Glasnow. I'm like, please, Giants, put 43 runs on Tyler Glasnow. That's all I ask of you. Thank you and good night. And then, of course, George Kirby gets shellacked. All 8 runs on George Kirby's ledger. Love that. Love that for me.
You're still going to win the week.
I'm not, though. I'm really not. I was until today, and it makes me mad. Anyhow.
Small sample size.
No, it's not a small sample size. But anyways, we're going to end the show. I was going to give you the date of when you guys come find us on the PSF app, but I don't have that in my brain right now. So while I go and find that, Tom, perfect. Give the 12th. So
it is a Friday.
It is a Friday. We will give you obviously more reminders as the date approaches. But before that, Tom, tell the people where they can find you on the socials.
On Twitter, not X, at Third Coast Tom. On Insta, at TCTom1. On the PSF app. I was there tonight. I might be there tomorrow night. I don't know. It is the best place to go watch a game with people, to talk the game through. That wasn't a strike. That is a strike. It's a lot of fun. Our show's probably the most fun. The other ones are great too.
There's no probably about it. We are the best.
We include all of the 4-letter words. We include the drinking games. We include all of the things. It is just a great time to place to come hang out. And if for some reason you're not an Astros fan and you are watching this show, first of all, thank you so much. And go find your own team on the PSF app. They cover all the teams. We don't discriminate. We had some Cards fans come in today. It was pretty cool. One of the PSF media casters came in and kicked it. So there's tons to do in there. It's a good time. Go check it out. And me and Susie will promise you will have a good time. You come to our show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I will drop that link in the show notes so that you can go and download it. Apple, Android. It is an app. It does not work on a desktop. It has to be a mobile device, so like iPad or your phone or whatever. If you have an extra phone laying around, use that. It's essentially like a Twitter space, but with 2 people that you can see. If you want to come up and be actually on the camera, show your face, you can do that, or you can do audio only, and then it really is like a Twitter Space, and just shoot the shit with people that are watching the game with you. Again, like Tom said, we have all of the teams, we have all of the sports. Side note, apparently the Texans got some guy that I'm
Stephon
like,
Diggs, baby. Yes.
explain explain it to me in baseball terms. And then when everyone was, like, explaining it to me in baseball terms, I'm all, "Wait,
Juan
wait,
Soto to the
what?
Yankees.
Hold on.
That's
Oh,
what he is.
okay." So
Only Juan Soto to the Yankees, but we didn't give up the haul
okay,
because he was
okay.
disgruntled.
He was disgruntled. Okay, that's fair, that's fair.
Yeah.
Side note, apparently, Juan Soto was disgruntled in the Padres system. There's a very good athletic article by Britt. I don't know how to say her last name. But anyways, side note. My Adderall has fully worn off, guys, as you can tell. But we will be back. Uh, Since the Ranger series is a 4-game series, I think we'll probably record after game 2 and then after game 4. We'll see. Maybe we'll figure it out. Set your notifications, guys. If you guys are not subscribed to the YouTubes, to the Apple Podcast, to the Spotify podcast, like what are we doing here? Okay. Just anytime we record, it will just magically pop up and be like, hello, we have a new episode. And it's a magical surprise. I'm almost positive that I put out like 43 new episodes today between the team previews and all of the balls and Astros edition. I'm pretty sure that I put out like six episodes today. I was very busy at school when I should have been paying attention to actual work. I was not. I was uploading podcasts. What can I say?
Yay, baseball.
Yeah, yay baseball indeed. But before I say yay baseball, I need you guys to give us all of the 5-star ratings and all of the nice words in a review. Again, 4 words. Noseball is hilarious. That's all we need, people. Okay, that's all we need. Tell your friends. Hit subscribe. It is free. You don't even have to give me any money. I would love it if you gave me money, but you don't even have to do that. Okay. I don't even have a merch to hawk. I do this out of the goodness of my heart, people. Tom just shared because he loves talking about sports.
All day, every day.
So, see, married to the game, baby. Married to the game. We should be so dedicated as Tom because he does this and he does like a football one. Okay. I don't know. Again, I don't understand how people do the multiple sports. I can't have my heart crushed like this by anything else. I would die. I would legitimately just fall over and die.
You
There's
just
no way.
described it. You don't love those as much as you love your true love. So when the Texans don't win, yes, it sucks, but you're like, when's that baseball season start? When the Rockets don't win, you're like, yeah, that sucks, but when's that baseball season? But if they win, they're like, hey, let's go. Texans, Rockets, Dynamo, let's do this.
Side
Same
note,
thing.
we were at a restaurant and we were watching women's college basketball, and my girls were asking questions, and I was answering the questions because basketball I actually know about, and my girls were looking at me and they were all, "How do you know about basketball, mom? Don't you only know about baseball?" I'm all, "No, actually, I do know about basketball." And I was telling them about like the point guard and like the shooting guard and they're all, How did you play basketball, mom?" I'm like, "Well, I I was not very good, but I was very scrappy. Okay, defensive wizard. That's what I was. Couldn't shoot the ball to save my fucking life though." But anyways, I can't do the I can't do the I can't do it. I can't do it. I tried watching the Rockets and I'm all, I don't understand what's going on. Is he supposed to be good? Is he supposed to be bad? What's happening? Can't do the soccer. It's just running back and forth. And hockey. I feel like I could actually watch hockey and maybe get into hockey.
I'm looking
But there's
forward.
not
If
a local
Houston,
hockey team, right?
no, there's not. If Houston gets a team, I'm all the way in.
But they allow fighting, just like legit fighting. They don't like the refs don't try and break it up.
It was worse back in the day. Back in the day, the rest would just sit back and let you have 2 minutes of swing time and then they break it up. Now it's like very rare where you see those good knockdown, like I'm losing some teeth fights.
Okay, but I don't understand how they fight and they literally have like the masks. Like they have the masks with the face covers.
They got
You're
gloves
hitting
on
plastic.
too. They don't care. I just don't
You're
like you. So I'm going to beat up that plastic until I get what I want.
you're not doing anything. There's no
most of,
damage being done.
most of the time they're not, but you know what? They feel better about their situation because I got to throw my hands.
Okay, that's fair. Sometimes, you know what? That's fair. Sometimes I wish maybe I could throw hands. Maybe I'd feel
You
better.
were going to buy the punching
Was good.
doll. Yeah.
I need to. I
So
need to.
it would be no different. Like that guy's going to be fine when you're done, but you feel better.
Then they're gonna be like, Susie, how did you break your thumb? So what had happened was, let me tell you this story. You watch. We're gonna end the show, guys, and we will see you hopefully in a couple of days. And we'll go watch some Orioles or some D-backs. Okay. A side note: the Yankees almost got walked off by the D-backs pitcher today. Okay, they had to get helped out by the umpire. Go check out that story. with that, we're gonna end the show. Yay, baseball!